Gambits are great fun to play, but a big downside to a lot of them is that there's one line that your opponent can go for where they get a perfectly okay position and or material. But that's not the case with the Urusov. No matter what black does, you'll have a great attacking position and a lot of development. So today I'm going to show you all the theory and how to win with this brilliant opening. The Urusov Gambit is a opening for the white pieces, and after e4 and e5, instead of knight f3 or knight c3, we're going to be playing bishop c4, the bishop's opening. Knight f6, the gambit starts after the move d4. So just quickly to address, if knight takes e4 to replay, then we take the pawn on e5. Knight c6, for example, just an idea of how quickly black can go wrong here. So I'd like you to try and find the move that wins for white. You might think that it's queen d5 threatening the knight here and threatening f7, but after knight g5, bishop takes g5, queen takes g5, queen takes f7 check, king d8. Black has a fine position here. After knight d2, knight takes e5, for example, f4, queen h4, check g3, knight takes f7, g takes f4, and knight h6. Black is going to attack these weaknesses and also has the bishop pair, so it's not that good for us. Instead of queen d5, we should be playing bishop takes f7 first, so it's more forcing. So after king takes f7, queen d5, now we have the fork. King e8 and queen takes e4. Here, we're obviously winning with a pawn up, and the king is misplaced. So let's go back a few moves. After d4, we've just established that knight takes e4 isn't any good, so that leaves the only other move, e takes d4. Rather than recapturing with the queen and being hit by knight c6, I'm recommending the move knight f3. And after this, there's three main choices for black, that being knight takes e4, knight c6, and bishop b4 check. Let's have a look at bishop b4 check first. After bishop b4, we're going to be playing c3 to block the check. And after d takes c3, although b takes c3 is a move that you could consider, I'm recommending the hyper aggressive castles kingside. C takes b2 and bishop takes b2. We have something that resembles a Danish gambit where black is 2 pawns up, but for example, castles e5, knight e8, queen b3, bishop a5, knight c3, knight c6, and rook a d1. We have a fantastic position for the 2 pawns. Black is completely tied down. The majority of pieces are on the back rank. We've got great pressure against the king side, and this e5 pawn really takes a lot of space away from the black pieces. Just to illustrate how dangerous this is for black to face, we could have d6, the best move, trying to open up this bishop, to rook f e1 and rook b8 defending this b7 pawn so this bishop can move. Rook e4, a really nice rook lift, bishop d7, and bishop takes f7 check. Well, it's winning after rook takes f7 and rook f4, putting pressure on this pinned piece. If queen e7, which looks natural, then knight d5. An amazing move. After queen e6, rook takes f7, queen takes f7, and knight g5. This queen is forced off of this diagonal and a dangerous discovered attack is coming. We just had a look at bishop b4 check, so now let's have a look at another sideline. Knight c6 is still a sideline, but it's played the most often online. After this, we're going to be playing e5 attacking the knight, d5 counter attack, otherwise we'd simply castle and protect this pawn. We're going to play bishop b5 pinning this knight, knight d7, castles kingside, bishop e7, both sides trying to get castled, bishop takes c6, b takes c6, knight takes d4, then knight takes e5, bishop f4, knight g6. An example would be knight takes c6, queen d7, knight takes e7, knight takes e7, and rook e1. I think we've got a great position here. We've got a weakness in the center attack. To attack, and all of our pawns are in a good structure here. Now that we've got all that out of the way, it's time for the main line. After knight takes e4 and queen takes d4, a lot of black players will simply dismiss this as after knight f6 and knight c3, white has 4 pieces out and black only has this knight on f6 and the rest of the pieces are on the back rank. There's 2 moves that I'd like to address here, that being knight c6 attacking our queen and c6 preparing to play d5. We'll have a look at c6 first. After this, we're going to be playing bishop g5, putting pressure on this knight. After d5, we're going to castle queenside. This bishop cannot be taken as queen takes d8 would be a mate. Bishop e7 and rook a t1. Just for example of how dangerous this is, if black were to castle kingside here, bishop d3, h6 kicking out our bishop. We have this very common idea of bishop takes h6, g takes h6. After queen e3, we're threatening the bishop and the pawn on h6, and if black tries to save the bishop with bishop d6, and after queen takes h6, got a great 7+ advantage. Let's see what the engine thinks here. Yeah, so the engine recommends the line bishop g4, after which queen g5, king h8, queen h6, going back and forth a bit, and then the knight jumps into e5, knight bd7, queen h6, and now knight takes g4. This knight cannot recapture due to queen h7 mate. If knight c6 is played instead of attacking our queen, then we have queen h4 lining up a pin on this diagonal. Bishop e7, bishop g5, h6, and queenside castles. Bishop can't be taken, otherwise the rook would hang. The kingside castle, we have again the very common motif of bishop takes h6, sacrificing the bishop. After d5, which is the best move recommended by the engine, we have bishop takes d5, queen d6, bishop e4, knight takes e4, queen e6, for example, then knight g5, queen e5, bishop h7 check, king h8, bishop g6 check, king g8, and knight ce4. This just looks like a crushing position here. That's going to get removed. It's a 14+ advantage. White is completely winning here. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not try this Urusov Gambit as well?